Queen very, very sad over Dame Vera Lynn's death. Her Majesty sends deepest condolences to family of Force's sweetheart singer who died yesterday aged 103. The Queen was deeply upset as she sent a private message of condolence to the family of her friend Dame Vera Lynn, who has died aged 103. The much-loved singer, who will forever be remembered for her magical voice, morale-boosting songs and risking her own life to visit troops during the Second World War, passed away surrounded by her family Thursday morning. Dame Vera became a symbol of freedom for the men often thousands of miles from home, and songs such as We'll Meet Again and The White Cliffs of Dover gave them hope in their darkest hours that they would one day return to their loved ones in Britain. And at home hits such as There'll Always Be in England gave millions belief better days lay ahead as the Luftwaffe lay siege to UK cities during the Blitz and threatened invasion from France before the Allies swept Hitler's forces aside. Her Majesty had been the first person to be told the news after she enjoyed decades of friendship with the wartime singer. Dame Vera's assistant Susan Flood told the Express, "Her Majesty was very, very sad. They sent their deepest condolences to the family." While her music was a beacon of hope between 1939 and 1945, her words in We'll Meet Again resonated again in the current coronavirus pandemic, with the Queen using them to inspire modern Britain to evoke the spirit of its wartime generation in battle through the coronavirus crisis. Prince Charles led royal tributes to Dame Vera, whose illustrious career meant she met the King George VI, his daughter the Queen Mother, and many other Windsors. His Clarence House Twitter account shared a number of pictures of the singer with the words, "Remembering Dame Vera Lynn." The Queen will send a private message to the family, Buckingham Palace said. Prime Minister Boris Johnson paid tribute to Dame Vera, saying her charm and magical voice entranced and uplifted our country in some of our darkest hours. Her voice will live on to lift the hearts of generations to come. Poignantly, Mr. Johnson met French President Emmanuel Macron in London yesterday to commemorate the 80th anniversary of Charles de Gaulle's Apple BBC broadcast to occupied France following the Nazi invasion in 1940. Mr. Macron will bestow France's top honor, the Légion d'honneur, on Britain's capital as thanks for the country's support of its nearest occupied ally. Dame Vera married her musician husband Harry Lewis in 1941 after meeting him in 1939, and the couple had one child, Virginia, who was born in 1946. Harry died in 1988 and Vera lived next door to her daughter in Ditchling, Sussex, who is understood to have been by her mother's side when she died in the early hours of this morning. Her family said in a statement they were deeply saddened to announce the passing of one of Britain's best-loved entertainers at the age of 103. They added, Dame Vera Lynn passed away earlier today, surrounded by her close family. Further information regarding a memorial service will be announced at a later date. 3/4 of a century on from the end of the Second World War, We'll Meet Again was quoted by the Queen in a rare TV address to give steel to Britain's 66 million people separated from their family and friends during the coronavirus pandemic. The song then became a lockdown anthem as it again entered the singles charts, with profits going to the NHS, and poignantly she last performed the song just 6 weeks ago. The veteran singer was beamed as a hologram to stand next to Catherine Jenkins at an empty Royal Albert Hall to mark the 75th anniversary of V-Day. Dame Vera dedicated the performance to the brave boys and what they sacrificed for us in her final interview before she died. She added, "They left their families and homes to fight for our freedom, and many lost their lives trying to protect us and our liberties." Dame Vera's death has sparked an outpouring of grief for a woman whose name is almost as synonymous with the war effort as Sir Winston Churchill. During the conflict she flew thousands of miles at great personal risk to perform for soldiers and visiting them in field hospitals. One of those was Captain Tom Moore, who served in Burma where she visited in 1942, who said her death was a real shame, adding, "She had a huge impact on me in Burma and remained important to me throughout my life. My thoughts are with Dame Vera Lynn's family at this sad time." Dame Vera spent time with the teenage Princess Elizabeth and her family in 1945 at Windsor Castle, where the princess stayed for her safety during the Second World War, just as she has done in lockdown. The singer and the royals celebrated the impending German surrender together, weeks ahead of the official announcement of peace. At a party in the castle, she joined other entertainers and the Windsors for a sort of private victory celebration. Dame Vera later recalled, "There was Tommy Trinder and one or two other artists, the king and queen and two princesses were there, and it was just sort of a private little party. So of course I wasn't surprised when peace was declared. We had already had a pre-warning, as it were, that it was finishing." Actress Miriam Margolyes summed up the Queen's relationship to Dame Vera in her own tribute. "There is no one in our lives, except the Queen, who had the power to connect a nation," she said. "For that, she will be remembered and always with love." Dame Vera was closely associated with the Queen Mother, and both were heralded for keeping spirits up during the war when the nation suffered under the Blitz and troops were training at home and fighting overseas. They used to write to one another, once sending mutual messages of support when Dame Vera fractured her thigh and the Queen Mother dislocated her shoulder at the same time, and they met frequently at charity events and occasions commemorating the war. On the 50th anniversary of V-Day in 1995, Dame Vera took center stage in front of Buckingham Palace to sing to the thousands of people who gathered in celebration. Watching from the balcony were the Queen Mother, the Queen and Princess Margaret. The royal trio joined in with the crowds to sing along with Dame Vera as she performed the White Cliffs of Dover. She took part in the Queen Mother's 100th birthday parade, and paid tribute to her when she died in 2002. Tributes have poured in for Force's sweetheart Dame Vera Lynn, who stirred the hearts of millions with songs and a personality that brought hope and inspiration during the darkest days of the Second World War. Decades later her name is as enduring as that of Sir Winston Churchill as a figure who played a huge role in keeping up the spirits of the civilian population suffering under the Blitz and the troops training at home and fighting overseas. Celebrities, politicians and charities lined up to pay tribute to Dame Vera, a humanitarian and entertainer beloved by the nation, who has died aged 103. Singer Katherine Jenkins said she could not find the words to explain how much she adored this wonderful lady. She added, "Her voice brought comfort to millions in their darkest hours, her songs filled the nation's hearts with hope, and her emotive performances, whether home or abroad, then or now, helped to get us through. It was she who chose the sentiments of her songs. She knew instinctively what people needed to hear, how to rally the morale, and her spirit and strength created the soundtrack of a generation. There will never be another Dame Vera Lynn. Force's sweetheart and our sweetheart. An icon. A legend. An inspiration. My mentor and my friend. I will miss you greatly and I know we'll meet again some sunny day." Sir Cliff Richard said, "Dame Vera Lynn was truly an icon. She was held in such high esteem, and my best, and favorite, memory was sharing a performance with her in front of Buckingham Palace for the V-Day celebrations in 1995. We walked to the stage through a crowd of survivors of that war, and they were reaching out to touch and get a smile from Vera. I heard the words, 'God bless you, thank you, we love you,' for their very own Force's sweetheart. A great singer, a patriotic woman and a genuine icon. I am happy to use the words called out on the wonderful day. Vera, thank you, God bless you, and I loved you too. Rest in a very deserved peace." Lyricist Sir Tim Rice described Dame Vera as one of the greatest ever British popular singers, not just because of her immaculate voice, warm, sincere, instantly recognizable and musically flawless. He continued, "She will be remembered just as affectionately for her vital work in the Second World War and for her own charitable foundations in the 75 years since. A link with more certain times has been irrevocably broken." Prime Minister Boris Johnson said her charm and magical voice entranced and uplifted our country in some of our darkest hours. Remembering the singer known as the Force's sweetheart, he said, "Her voice will live on to lift the hearts of generations to come." The Royal British Legion paid tribute to Dame Vera in a statement posted on Twitter, writing, "We are incredibly sad to hear of the passing of Dame Vera Lynn, an unforgettable British icon, symbol of hope to the armed forces community past and present, and much-loved long-standing Legion supporter. Our thoughts are with her loved ones." Actress Miriam Margolyes said, "Dame Vera never lost her reality. The voice like a bow was a gift, which she shared so generously and bravely. But the magic was that her personality was genuine, open, warm. Meeting her was one of the high points of my life. She looked at you and saw you. And connected. There is no one in our lives, except the Queen, who had the power to connect a nation. For that, she will be remembered and always with love. Tenor Alfie Boe, who sang with Dame Vera on a new recording of her song We'll Meet Again, tweeted, "Rest in peace Dame Vera Lynn. Truly a national treasure, and this is such sad news to hear, especially at this time when her iconic song and spirit touched the nation. It was a real pleasure to sing with her, an honor I will treasure forever."